It's the then versus now challenge! 3!
Boom! Welcome back, fans. It's race 7 of Group 1.
And today's racers won their spot here when they competed all the way back in qualifying race 7.
And dedicated fans will remember that race had it all. Big speed, big crashes, and even bigger fires. Heck, Wild Bob even had a cookout on one of the competitors' burning Toyotas.
It was ham hocks with cinnamon, and they were unforgettable.
Well, what else was unforgettable was the performance of today's racers. But let's introduce them again to the fans watching for the first time.
Coming back for Team Then, from Columbus, Georgia, it's Benjamin Webb in his small but fast 1984 Toyota MR2.
And returning for Team Now, it's Dexter Hall from Ann Arbor, Michigan, in his 2020 Toyota Supra. Now that the reintroductions are all done, let's get racing.
Here we are at the guillotine gate for Heat 1. Benjamin Webb's MR2 is in the pole position.
And one lane over to the right, in lane 2, it's Dexter Hall's Supra. While we were busy with the introductions, the safety crew was busy clearing the track. So it's time to disengage that parking brake so we can get this race started.
3, 2, 1, go!
Benjamin on his door!
Now he's on his roof. And he is out!
Dexter flies over the jump! Bing bong bing! Like a pinball, he's across the line!
Now let's give the fans our expert commentary on the replay. Well, at least my expert commentary.
Hey!
That wasn't an insult, Al. You see, with my many years as a broadcaster, I give the professional commentary. And what you give can only be described as color commentary.
You mean because my commentary is like gold?
Actually, I was thinking more of pyrite.
Wow, that kind of gold sounds expensive.
Oh, that kind of gold attracts everyone, Al. I'd say even the fools can't turn it away.
Wow, that's the nicest thing you've ever said. I think you're turning over a new leaf, Barry.
Well, speaking of fools and turning over, Dexter makes a fool out of Benjamin as he squeezes that little MR2 against the wall, causing him to turn over onto his side.
Great segue, Barry. I'd say your commentary is pretty pyrite as well.
Don't you dare ever say that about me. I mean, that title's just for you, Al.
Wow, so humble. You really are turning over.
Well, who really keeps turning over is that little MR2 because he goes from on his door to on his roof. And unfortunately, Heat 1 ends for him right there in Carmine Corner.
Meanwhile, Dexter Hall launches off the jump coming down Clunker Canyon. He gets a little loose and slips just a bit, but he quickly corrects and accelerates his way out of the canyon.
But that course correction doesn't last long because he hits the inside wall on the way into the boulevard, sending him ricocheting into the opposite wall, then into the tires and backwards into the barrels.
Hopefully, while we were doing the replay, his pit crew was busy straightening out his bodywork.
Well, one thing Dexter Hall's pit crew won't have to straighten out is the scorecard, because he easily puts up the first win in Heat 1. Heat 2 sees our customary lane change.
Shout out to both pit crews. They got those cars looking good as new during the replay commentary. Great job, guys.
Let's hope our safety crew also did their jobs and reset the track. 3, 2, 1, go! Yowzers!
Super massive block!
MR2 recovered!
Super on the wall! No, he's off! Will he push through?
No, he is out!
MR2 loses it!
He spins!
He's hard into the tires! Uh-oh. That's not good. Should we call the safety crew?
No, he'll be fine. Look how good of a job Benjamin's pit crew did during the replay of Heat 1. I'm sure that will buff right out.
But he's on fire!
Just like our replay commentary is going to be.
Wow! Another strong segue, Barry.
Well, Al, what was really strong was the launch out of the guillotine gate. In fact, Dexter Hall pulls so hard out of the gate he actually blew his own tire. But in an excellent bit of racing, he decides to sacrifice his disabled car and goes for the pit maneuver right at the end of Nevada.
And it worked spectacularly. He sends that tiny MR2 into the air and into the bottleneck's wall. Benjamin then fights the whole time not to let that tiny white car spin.
And he recovers as he enters Carmine Corner, downshifts, and never looks back.
And after having sent Benjamin into the wall, it's now Dexter Hall who finds himself on the wall.
Then he uses all 335 of that Supra's horsepower to muscle his way off the wall. But unfortunately, with that blown tire and whatever linkage he just broke trying to get off the wall, Dexter's Supra wasn't gonna get very far at all.
Well, who did go far was Benjamin's MR2. But that rear-engine Toyota just swung all its weight forward as he bounced off the jump and went in reverse down Clunker Canyon.
And that tiny little rear window doesn't give Mr. Webb much visibility, so he goes tail first into the outer wall of the boulevard at full speed, which sends him into a wild, uncontrollable spin, resulting in him again going tail first into the tires at the end of the line.
And I think that was just one too many rear collisions for that rear-engine MR2 as he ignites like a Yule log heating up Christmas Eve.
And another thing that's heating up is our scorecard, because this race just got all tied up. Look at that, Al. I told you that fire would buff right out. And speaking of out, one racer is minutes away from being out and having to tell their pit crew it's time to pack up and go home, while the other racer is minutes away from securing the last spot in quarterfinal race 1.
Well, I can't wait anymore, Barry, and I bet the fans can't wait anymore either. So let's not waste any of their minutes and hit that countdown.
3, 2, 1, go! They're even!
They connect!
Through the turn!
Supra flips into the clunkers! He's on fire!
MR2 spins again!
But he's okay! We have a winner!
You know what that means. One last replay.
Wow! What a way to end the race!
That's right, Al. This one had some big action. It started the moment the gate went up and these two rubbed fenders coming down Nevada.
Then they bounce block into each other coming into the bottleneck. It's almost like their cars were high-fiving each other.
But that apparent camaraderie immediately turns bitter because Dexter Hall tries to sneak in another pit maneuver as he leaves the bottleneck.
And while that causes Benjamin Webb to wildly understeer into Carmine Corner, he straightens out halfway through the turn and just opens up his lead. And that little MR2 is first off the jump and tries to straighten out with a little help from one of the clunker carriers.
Meanwhile, Dexter Hall is in all kinds of trouble coming off the jump and flips roof side down into the clunkers.
And that causes him to grind to a halt. And for the second time in this race, it leaves us with a Toyota on fire.
Interesting.
Finally, Benjamin Webb is hard at work at the wheel trying to straighten out that 84 MR2, but he can't get the rubber to grip the road.
But he has no problem gripping into the rubber at the end of the line because once again he goes slamming into the tires.
And the other thing he slammed was his second win on our scorecard, knocking Dexter Hall out of the race, clearly making Benjamin Webb tonight's winner. That little MR2 just secured a big spot in the quarterfinals. And unfortunately, Dexter Hall started out strong, but due to a tire blowout and some other minor miscalculations, his journey ends here.
Quick question, Al. Have you heard from the safety crew? Have they cleared Dexter's Supra off the track?
No, it turns out it's an electrical fire from one of the hybrid batteries, and the safety crew says it's best to just leave it alone and let it burn itself out.
Really? That's great. Oh, I mean, that's terrible. Why don't you go ahead and close us out, Al?
Wow, really?
You earned it, Mr. Pyrite.
Well, this is race 7.
Hello?
And as you can see on our bracket, race 8 of
Did you hear
both
about
Groups
the Toyota?
1 and
Is
Group
it
2
still
have
burning up?
3
Oh,
question
yeah.
marks. And you've
It's
probably
still on
been
fire.
wondering, What the heck is that all about?
You got any cinnamon?
Well, to find out what it's all about,
Because I got some fresh ham hocks in the back of the
you'll
yellow
have to
jacket.
tune in to Race 7 of Group 2.
I bought a bottle of cinnamon just to keep at my desk ever since the qualifiers.
Because then we'll have no choice but to reveal what those 3 question marks are all about.
Well, then it's looking like I'll see you at Clunker Canyon with your barbecue bib on.
Guys, seriously, please! Sorry about that, fans. Anyway, next time, Race 7, all mysteries will be spoiled. But in the meanwhile, be sure to check out our playlist to catch up on all our other tournaments and events. And if that's still not enough Scrapyard Diecast Racing action for you, go check out our Shorts channel and subscribe.
It's the Then versus Now Challenge! 3!